Back to A Galaxy of Her Own. We are now on our 16th reading of this book, so we're finding out about the 16th person in this book. And this person's name is Rita Rapp. She was a physiologist, a nutritionist, and she was born in the United States in 1928 and died in 1990. Rita Rapp was responsible for one of the most important parts of any mission. She joined NASA in 1961, in the early days of the space program, and started working on the Mercury project, designing in-flight items such as exercise devices and medical packs, but within a few years moved to the Apollo program to plan what the astronauts would eat in space. The food eaten by the Mercury astronauts wasn't very tasty. It was mostly puree squeezed out of a tube or bite-sized cubes from compressed food covered in gelatin. Food in space floats, just like everything else, which makes crumbs very problematic. Instead of falling to the floor, they can clog up filters or even get in astronauts' eyes. During the Gemini flights, the food was a little better, but still fairly bland. Gus Grimson smuggled one of his favourite corned beef sandwiches onto the flight, but it soon disintegrated as soon as he pulled it out of his pocket. Rita was responsible for all of the food the astronauts would eat, before and during their missions for Apollo, Skylab and the early days of the shuttle. She was determined to make it taste as good as possible and to give the crew food that was much more like what they ate on Earth. She worked hard to improve nutrition, to design and develop new food packaging, and even add cutlery. Rita would also bake homemade bite-sized cookies for the crew. These were so tasty that during the Skylab missions, they were used as onboard currency, with personal cookies allocations being traded for favours. Space food today is not dissimilar from what we eat at home. In order to reduce weight, and therefore launch costs, much is sent in a dehydrated state, like instant mashed potato. The astronauts simply add hot or cold water, wait a few minutes, then cut open the plastic pouch and eat it. Other food comes in tins or metallic pouches and is warmed in a device that is a cross between a suitcase and a sandwich grill. Things like chocolate, nuts, or biscuits go just like they are. Rita knew that if astronauts had food they liked, they would work better in space. They were all very grateful for her pioneering efforts, transforming their meals from cubes and tubes to the space version of haute cuisine. And here's an illustration of Rita and a quote from her. "You can't just go to the grocery and put things on board. It's a challenge, but I enjoy meeting the challenge and accomplishing an end."